Hello warriors, welcome to the U movement. I am B, and today I am sitting here right in the center of this baseball pitch. Luckily there's no kids hitting balls today. It's a beautiful day. The wind is blowing. There's beautiful fluffy clouds in the sky, and I am emerging out of another round of many days of purging and ego death going down. God, this awakening, it just keeps going on and on and on. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about your inner child. I have done a good number of videos about the inner child in the past, and I think there's a playlist for that, because there's, well, basically a playlist for everything at this stage. That's been forefront in what's happening. Energetically, we just went through the solstice, which has been an intense squeeze again. And right on its coattails has been a very intense full moon. So I just did a video yesterday or the day before about kind of full moon energy that was coming in, illuminating more of our shadow. And shadow work and inner child work are very interlinked. And a lot of people, you know, when you talk about shadow work or inner child work, they're like, well, what exactly is the work? What exactly am I should I be doing? And it's simple, is allowing. It will basically present itself as you're on this awakening path, and the work that should be doing is the allowing of whatever is arising. So I have been talking about in my own sphere, dealing with issues of loneliness rising and codependency rising, and you know, all interconnected to that original inner child wound of that very young 2-year-old that was put into adoption, abandoned, and put in through the adoption center, adoption process through the Children's Aid Society, you know, in 1974. And that is the inner child work, because, okay, once we are identifying, okay, where does this stuff come from? Where does this sense of loneliness, this sense of need of people originate? And it's our inner child as we're going through all these purges and releases of energy, and so allowing ourselves guilt-free to feel your feelings is opening the doorway to save that inner child. And so you know, the concept of inner child originated probably sometime in the 70s, I believe. You know, Oprah really popularized the concept on her television show. And I would like to present a slightly different viewpoint of the inner child, instead of being a single solitary energy within. We have multiple inner children. So this ties more into the shamanistic viewpoint of soul retrieval. And what this is understanding that our soul, our soul essence comes down into this body, and we have the soul contract to experience certain things. But in this body, in the limited form that we are in, it can't handle some of those experiences at that age and stage that we experience them. So, for example, me as a 2-year-old couldn't fully comprehend or integrate or process what it was to be left. You know, you have a primary caregiver, which is your mother, and then to be handed over to strangers and never see your mother again is not something a 2-year-old's mind has the capacity to process through and understand. You know, it's not like you sit down and you have a conversation and say, I'm sorry, things just aren't working out, and it's going to be in your best interest and my best interest to, you know, put you with this foster family until some other family comes along, hopefully, and adopts you. oh, okay, I understand. I can grasp that. No, of course not. A 2-year-old is attached because that is the way humans are designed. And all of a sudden, snip, you're unattached. And so it causes a trauma. And in that trauma, from the shamanistic viewpoint, it's like a fracture of your wholeness is left behind. So it's like you were whole, and then a piece of you is left and stuck in time, so to speak. And that's for your own protection. Your soul does that so that your ego starts to develop at a way earlier age than is deemed healthy or normal. You know, ego is supposed to develop at around age 7. But for those that have traumas, early on traumas, that ego comes into creation at a much earlier stage. And ego's job, its number one mandate is protect that child at all costs, that wounded aspect of self. So ego tucks it away into like a safe space in this void, and puts up an electric fence and says, now you're not to go back there. You're not to look behind this fence and talk to this fractured aspect of self, because my job is to protect it. And so through your life, ego will go to any lengths possible to prevent you from facing that aspect of self, because it could be too detrimental for your emotions, to your well-being. It's why people have repressed memories that come to them later in life, when they're more able to mentally be able to prepare and process through it. So I've been doing the inner child work of reconnecting to the energy of that lost aspect of self. And that's what a lot of this process of healing is all about, is through the purging and allowing the tears and connecting to the energy and listening to you know, what is it that you need? What is it that you're feeling? And allow and have a dialogue. Is the inner child work, is to have a dialogue with that lost aspect of self and say, you know, what is it that you need right now? And let the child speak. I am lonely. I am scared. I am hurting. Okay, I am hearing you. I am loving you. I will protect you. One visualization that you can do and utilize, which is fantastic, is, you know, once you identify what time period that you're dealing with, you know, get into your mind's eye what you looked like in that. If you have a photograph, that's fantastic. If you don't, you know, visualize what you looked like at that age and stage in your own life, and visualize yourself going and having a conversation with that younger version of you, and understand that the first time that you're having a conversation with this person, this younger version, this earlier aspect of self, they may not trust you, because you haven't been there for them. You've been denying them. You've been shushing them. You've been using this, that, and the other, maybe smoking, maybe alcohol, maybe any other number of bizarre and strange tools and techniques for coping to prevent you from having this conversation. So when you begin to open yourself up to having this conversation, understand that inner child is going to take some coaxing. So, you know, if you visualize it in a room, maybe the bedroom that you used to have, or maybe another location that you used to be at, and say, hey, you know, can I have a conversation with you? Can I talk with you? And just sit down beside them. It's not about rushing in and picking them up and taking them with you, because you need to coax that aspect of self back into wholeness with you, to integrate back into wholeness. So you may sit down and be like, sorry, I'm getting eaten. I think I'm sitting on like an ant's nest. It's great. You may have to coax them. Can I talk? It's okay. It's, you know, let me hear what you have to say. And in this visualization process of having this conversation, you're able to reintegrate and bring them home. So number 2, once you start listening to what it is that they're saying and what it is that they want. And so my inner child was saying, you know, I'm lonely. I don't understand. I'm missing my people. I began to reparent. So stage 2 is to reparent and to give that child what it needed way back then that it didn't receive. And so again, having an actual conversation. And I love the power of technology to be used in healing in any way, shape, or form. So I made myself an audio recording, and I do this every time a certain aspect of myself is requiring something or needing, and I give it to myself. So you then play the role of the child and the parent, and saying, I love you, I'm here for you, I'm not going to let anyone hurt you again, I'm going to protect you, you can come with me, I will keep you safe, everything's going to be okay. You're okay. You have every right to feel how you feel. I am sorry that you've had this experience. I will be patient with you. I will love you. It's going to be okay, and so on. And make an audio recording and play it to yourself, and you will find how quickly that inner child calms and relaxes and finds a sense of safety and a sense of peace and a sense of security and a sense of trust. Again, and in so doing is healing and integrating that lost aspect of self back into wholeness, soul retrieval, retrieving all the lost aspects of self. Is a continual process along this awakening path, because especially if you have a lot of traumas. Because if you have a lot of traumas, consider yourself going around and collecting all your little lost children, your little abandoned children, your wounded children, your traumatized children, your hurt children. All of these are you. And so to bring yourself back into wholeness, you need to collect all of these aspects of self. And not only from your inner child's wounds, but also maybe your adult wounds. You know, maybe later in life you had bad relationship and you need to retrieve, you know, that wounded aspect of self in that relationship. Or you lost your job and you need to retrieve that aspect of self from that job, and that was hurt and wounded and disappointed, and, you know, whatever, whenever, wherever. We're going on a treasure hunt, and the treasure is you. Each time you integrate an aspect of self back into wholeness, you yourself become more awakened, more enlightened, more aware, more whole in embracing all of these things. So you're no longer controlled by your shadows, because the ego gets to play free rein and run the roost as long as you've got all these hidden aspects of self, all these little wounded children, and all these like shadow aspects that keep hidden, that are, in a sense, you know, we've got the little wounded inner child, and then we have ego that's run amok and has created all these shadow aspects of self to protect that wounded inner child. So what's underneath the shadow, you know, and maybe it's an attachment, or maybe it's an addiction, maybe it's a way of showing up, you know, getting into that bitch ass, I'm gonna not let anyone get to me, so I'm gonna overreact when there's triggering situations. But if you keep healing all these little wounded children and keep bringing them home to self, then there's not going to be anything left for there to be triggers. So everything that triggers you is like a doorbell to that hidden place where it's like Monsters, Inc., with all those doors that go by, and each door, ding dong, is an opportunity for you to go into the shadowy places, past the shadows, deal with the demons, deal with the hard stuff, feel the tough feelings, and then get to the root of it, is to find that little child, that little lost aspect of you that has been in the dark, alone, and frightened for a number of years. And then bring that child, number 3 stage is to bring that child somewhere safe. So I always visualize in my mind's eye this beautiful garden, and in my garden there's a 3-story house with a gorgeous picture window at the top, and somehow it miraculously houses hundreds of my wounded children because it's a miracle house. And in this magic garden, there's dragons and there's fairies and there's a beautiful pond, and you know, I get to be there and watch my children just play and be at peace now, you know. So one after another, I have gone into the shadow and retrieved and done the inner child work to retrieve these lost aspects of self and integrate. Who I'm integrating now is my abandoned child. And as I integrate her back and bring her, she's no longer abandoned. We've gotten to the root of it, and she's now safe in her home with a beautiful picture window where there's a rocking chair and there's toys and there's nutrition and there's love, because I'm going to love her. So some of these tools may seem counter or against how we've normally dealt with our wounds, because in society we've been trained that, you know, we don't share our dirty laundry, we don't talk about things, we certainly shouldn't feel things, you know, certain feelings are undesirable. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't feel the feelings, you aren't going to do the inner child work, you aren't going to retrieve your lost aspects of self, you're not going to find the treasure locked within the dark places. And the only way to do that is to go into it more. So the next time you're feeling an undesirable feeling, whether it be fear, whether it be sadness, grief, anguish, actually feel it. Allow yourself the time and the opportunity to feel it. If it feels overwhelming because you, like me, have been repressing your emotions your whole life, through all kinds of wackadoodle tools like smoking, drinking, distraction, masking, and all the rest, perhaps what you need to do is set a timer. So this is like an added tool that I have used and I mentioned in a good few videos, is set a timer for 25 minutes and say to yourself, for the next 25 minutes, I'm going to allow myself to feel. I'm going to cry the most cries, I'm going to scream, I'm going to wallow, I'm going to really go into it as much as I possibly can. And in the next 25 minutes, I'm going to face it bravely, and I'm going to honor myself as I feel these feelings that I've been denying myself my entire life, or told to shush, or told to, you know, pull yourself together, I'll give you something to cry about, you know, all those ways that we've been indoctrinated to think that our feelings were somehow wrong, bad, shameful. We're going to let go of the shame, we're going to let go of the judgment, we're going to let go of the criticism and the critique, and we're going to let ourselves feel. And as we feel, we're going to dig through to find where that lovely inner child is hiding. If you need help with some inner child work and with stuff that's coming to the surface, and you would like to book a one-on-one with me to assist you in doing that, please feel free to reach out. The way to do that is in the description below. All of my services are donation-based. If you want help and support from the Spiritual Warrior Support Group on Facebook, the way to do that is in the description below, and please feel free to come join. It's relatively quiet over there, but you know, now and again people will pop up and ask a question, and as we can support each other on this journey, you're going to find more and more that you're not alone, and that's what's really scary is on this process, is how alone you feel as you're processing through stuff. So something that you might be going through is the exact same thing that somebody else is going through at the exact same time. Things are happening in a collective energy. Really, we all are one. It's remarkable. So feel free to come and join the Spiritual Warrior Support Group. Otherwise, leave a comment here if on any of my videos, because other people that are watching might be dealing with some of the same issues, whether it be adoption, abandonment, alcoholism, being raised by a narcissist, you know, feeling low self-worth and self-value and self-limiting beliefs, any of these types of things. There's common ground. So feel free to, if you are inspired to you know, leave a question or a comment on any of the YouTube videos, because the community, it will help create a sense of community and help other people. You never know who's reading the comments, and they may be sitting quietly in suffering. So I'm trying to really get the message out as much as possible to please don't suffer in silence. That is an old paradigm that has only supported abuse and supported those that are in a position of power and control that have hurt you. So the more you learn to use and utilize your voice and speak up and speak your truth and share your authenticity, the greater healing that you will find is going to come to you. Our one mission on this earth, after saving ourselves, is to find ourselves and find all the aspects of selves that are out there, so that we can be truly whole and truly authentic again, instead of replications of everybody else, unique in your own individuality and unique in your own soul essence. Before I go, I want to just say thank you, and thank you for all the likes, the shares, the subscriptions. It means the absolute world to me, and I am so delighted that in my sharing my story as openly and as honestly as I can with my experiences of trauma as a child, and abuse and narcissism and trauma bonds and all the addictions and masking and distractions and distortions and everything else that I take ownership in my life, that I am able to help other people transmute some of their stuff and find their way back to wholeness, which is the ultimate goal for me, is assisting somebody else from suffering, because I know what it is to be in the dark, and I know what it is to suffer, and I would not want any single human on this planet to have to endure that. So if I can help elevate you out of a dark place and give you some tools and strategies to help along the path, then I have purpose, I have mission, I have a feeling that there was a meaning behind all of the pains and aches and sorrows that I experienced. So with that said, I'm going to love you and leave you and send you all of the most love that I can out there, and peace out.